Hey, and welcome back to The Voice Within. I'm really glad you are here. So, we are entering that time of the year where everything feels like it's shifting, wrapping up, planning what's next. Ramadan is coming to an end, and we also got some family travel coming up for Eid. So, there is that feeling of transition in the air, and it really always makes me excited when we break usual routine and something new is happening in our life. And with that, I've been thinking a lot about this topic that we're going to talk about it today that shows up in life for so many of us, the topic about control, what it looks like, how it sneaks in into our life, and why we often confuse control and need to control the things with need for safety. So that's what we're going to dive in today. As far as I know for myself, I had extreme need to control the things. Not that much to control other people, but to control my environment, to control my situation, to control my life circumstances. And the moment when I learned that I cannot control nothing around me, especially not my circumstances in life, and the way the life is happening around me is basically when I was in pregnancy. So for a long time, I thought my need to control things was about making sure that everything went smoothly, to make sure that everything is done perfectly. That if I didn't step in, if I didn't take control, things would be going in a different direction. And that my way was the most efficient, the safest, and the best way to do the things. But what I didn't realize was that my need to control the things wasn't actually about situations, about life itself. It was always about me. And this is what I really learned so deeply during my pregnancy and the beginning of my motherhood journey. Before pregnancy, before motherhood, to be honest, I was not even aware that I'm doing this. It was just my natural setting, the way I function. I make sure that everything is in the perfect order around me, so I avoid mistakes. I thought that I do this because I can only rely on myself, because the other people will make mistakes and I cannot rely on them. And this is what most of the people think. Most people who struggle with control, they think they do it because they don't trust others to handle things effectively. But if we look deeper, the way I started looking my need for control, it's not just about not trusting others. It's actually about not trusting ourselves. It's not just what if they mess up, what if they do something wrong. It's also what if I can't handle it if they do mess up. So today I want to talk about why we try to control everything, what we are really afraid of, and how to shift from control to trust. Because when I learned to shift from control to the trust, I became free. I became somebody who is not afraid of possible scenarios which go in a different direction than I was anticipating from the beginning. So like I said, most of the people think control is about efficiency. Control is about responsibility. Control is about leadership. And this is what I used to think all of my life. I used to look at this need for control like my value. But in reality, it's about managing the fear. When I looked deep inside of myself, I realized that I was controlling the things because there is a fear of failure. If I don't take control, it won't get things go right. Fear of things falling apart, going different direction. If I don't do it, no one else will do it. Fear of disappointment. I'd rather take control for the outcome than risk to regret it later. Even the fear of emotional discomfort. If I control things, I will not have to feel powerless. It gave me some sense of power. When I control the things, it gave me idea that by controlling the things, I have power. But until I stepped into the motherhood, I didn't realize how basically powerless I am in controlling my environment and things which are unfolding in my life. The only thing I can basically control is how I adapt in those situations in life, like it was pregnancy or motherhood or any other situation. If I could sum it up, this is how I understood it. The control isn't about making things better. It's always about avoiding uncertainty and discomfort We often justify control as competence or responsibility, but underneath it's about avoiding uncertainty. I have to do this, I know better. It's faster if I do it just myself. I don't trust anyone else to do it the way I would do it. And this is very common for us females to do it this way. We justify need for control by saying that it's faster if I do it just myself, because deep inside we don't trust. Not that the people will not handle it properly, but we are more afraid that we're not gonna be able to handle it if the things go wrong. We are not able to hold our own discomfort when and if things go wrong. And from this place, often in motherhood, we don't allow others to make mistakes. Especially our children. Let me handle it for you because it's faster for me, I know better. But we are ripping them off from possibility to learn in action, to learn through mistake. And it's not because it will be done faster. Maybe, yeah, because we repeated it so many times. But at the same time, we just want to avoid possible discomfort of them making the mistake. The deeper truth is that the control isn't strength, it's actually the resistance to let go control. Control isn't even efficiency, it's a fear of uncertainty. Control isn't lack of trust in others, it's actually lack of trust in ourselves. We don't just control because we don't trust others. We control because we don't trust ourselves to handle things if the things go wrong. It's about doubting our own ability to recover from mistakes or any kind of failure or disappointment. It's not about us doubting others. It's about us doubting our own abilities. What we often do, what I used to do all of my life, I would say to myself, it's just easier if I do it. I know the best way. I don't have time to explain now, let me just finish it myself. If I let go, everything will be a mess. But when I looked deep inside of these statements, what really was behind them is easier if I do it. I would avoid discomfort of delegation. I know the best way, it would be fear of uncertainty. I don't trust others to do it right. What it actually means is I don't trust myself to handle it if they don't, if they make mistake. So the crucial shift which had to happen in my mindset to move from control to trust was that control was never about trusting others. It was always about trusting myself to adapt when things don't go as I was planning in the first place. Because the fact is, even when we control everything, things they still go to different direction. They go as we didn't expect it. And this is the fact. And this is where I used to get so much frustrated, because with all of the power that I put in trying to control the things, control the outcomes, things still didn't go as I wish. And what does this do is that it creates even more frustration, like I said, because we did everything, let's say it right, controlled, and it still didn't turn out the way we want. And what happens that the more we try to control the things, the more we feel disappointment and frustration when the things don't follow the plan. Let's say the mom who insists on doing the things by herself instead of the kids, so everything is done properly, so everything is done right. But the fact is, she still feels exhausted by doing these things. Well, basically, she feels even more exhausted because she's trying to control the things by doing the things by herself to avoid possible disappointment if the things go wrong. And this disappointment, it's not about the kids making a mistake. She is very well aware that there is a high chance that they will make mistake. They are just kids. But she cannot handle her own discomfort when they make mistake. She is putting her own value eye to eye with the kid's mistake. She is not able to trust herself enough to have understanding that she is capable of handling possible mistake. Even when we control things, we don't always get the outcome as we expect. So what are we actually gaining from trying to control the things? We are basically gaining protection. a sense of safety, a feeling that if we control ourselves and our environment enough, we will not get hurt. We are gaining the illusion that we created in our head that if we micromanage every outcome, we can somehow prevent disappointment, we can somehow prevent failure or discomfort which comes with a possible failure or possible mistake. But the truth is, the more we rely on control, the less we trust ourselves. I'll just repeat that one more time. The more we rely on the control, the less we trust ourselves. This was a huge mindset shift for me when I was brave enough to repeat this to myself and to have this type of conversation with myself, where I realized that I am sabotaging my self-trust by controlling everything. Because every time when I would tighten the grip, what I was really saying to myself is, I don't trust myself to handle what happens if the things go wrong. I was saying to myself, I don't believe I can handle failure or mistake or disappointment, so I must prevent at all costs any possible mistake, any possible disappointment. And the fact is, control never made me stronger. It always made me dependent on the certainty. I had to learn to let go. I had to learn to trust the process. And the more I was trying to control the things, the more fragile my trust in myself became. So I had to learn to let go things slowly, step by step, and see how they unfold, and to focus inward in controlling what I can, my discomfort. How am I carrying myself in that situation? What stories I'm saying to myself about that mistake? Am I repeating myself and disvaluing myself because of that mistake, or I am compassionate for myself? I'm giving myself understanding that the mistake is a normal process of life. It's a process of growth, that it's impossible to don't make mistake. By doing this step by step, letting go, control in the small things where I wouldn't feel that much discomfort, and moving in the bigger things, I started building more trust in myself, in my own abilities to handle mistakes and failure in my life. Antidote to control is to learn to trust that we can handle whatever happens, that we are there for ourselves, that we can be certain only in one thing, that we will hold ourselves when the mistake happens, when the life becomes hard, that we will be there for ourselves. And this is basically the only certainty that we have in our life. So how can we move from control to trusting ourselves? Like I said, starting small, starting in the low-stake areas. Just think about it. If you have strong need for control, ask yourself, where can I practice releasing control in a way that feels manageable, that I can handle it? For example, letting someone else handle something small and sitting with that discomfort. And then while you are sitting in that discomfort, notice the fear under the control. What am I actually afraid of? What is my fear telling me? Is my fear real, or is just I'm uncomfortable? So basically what we are doing here is we are learning to sit with discomfort. What will happen if I don't step in? Can I handle this feeling of wish to rush to fix the things? Can I stay still and just observe myself while I'm letting go control? Instead of micromanaging and paying attention on how we can control our environment so we don't feel discomfort, we go inward. How can I control myself right now and my own discomfort to don't have need to control my environment? And when you look into it, control itself, we think it's organized, but basically it's chaos. It's like I have to micromanage everything. If I don't, something bad will happen. And self-trust is dignity. Self-trust is grace. Self-trust is grounded. I trust myself that I will handle everything, whatever happens. I don't need to micromanage people around me. I don't need to micromanage my environment, situation, life outcomes. I trust myself completely that I will be able to handle this, whatever comes my way, and I'm here for myself. That is a huge, huge difference from control. It's a grounded, it's dignity, it's self-trust, it's charisma. And when we manage to move from that chaos of control to the place of self-trust, we are becoming free from need to control the things. If I could sum it up for the end of this podcast episode in my whole huge experience in my life with myself about control, is that control doesn't prevent failure. Failure happens whatever we do, no matter how much we try to control it. The control basically prevents growth. And letting go doesn't mean things will fall apart. It means that we trust that we will handle whatever happens next. And from that place, that certainty, we build unshakable self-trust. That will be it for this podcast episode. I hope you have found something for yourself. Share it with whoever could have value from it. And I would like to thank you for your time. Thank you for spending this day with me. And I wish you lovely rest of the day. And see you next Sunday in the new podcast episode. Bye.